Okay, in the project 2, the first thing we want you guys to install the Visual Studio. So you go to visualstudio.com downloads, and you can download Visual Studio Community 2017. It may take some time to download, and when you choose, you have better choose the component called ASP.NET component. And once you install successfully, you should have a software looks like this. And make sure it's Visual Studio 2017 community version if you want. And the second thing, we want you guys to go to my GitHub. There's a project called Exercises. So you go to the GitHub exercise. There's a green button on the right side, and you click Chrome. You can either download and unzip it, or you can copy this URL. And if you like to use Git, and like me, you do Git clone and URL in this box, and you should be able to clone the whole project into your local drive. And once you clone the project to your local drive, you go back here, open file, or you can go files, open project solution. So we go to here, the location we download, we click, and there's a file called Microsoft Visual Studio Solution. It's a solution file, and we click open. It may take you some time to open the project. We go through this project structure. The first thing first, you usually will check something under the project folder. There's a file called webconfig, and you double click it, open the webconfig. The first thing you may need to know is called connection string, which is a configuration to connect to the database. So here I use the local DB. So let's see what happened to the local DB. So once you use the local DB in your project here, app data, there should be some file create here. So let's do it. And once you download, we click Google Chrome to run it. It may take some time to run this project. When the project is running, I give you guys a briefing on this software. So we use Visual Studio, and usually you can find a Solution Explorer here. And in the Solution Explorer, And first thing is your solution. Under your solution, you have a project called exercises. And then we are going to check this project. So the first thing is we call MVC. So the first one folder I want you to check is the models. And then the second folder you need to check is controllers. And the third one is wheels. So we open the project and run it first time. You should see something like this. And you can register a new account. For example, I put George g@g.g, password. So because the first one, if you create a file, so it will take some time. So once you have the project open, the first thing you do the register or hit any link like create exam. You should be able to find two files here. And one is the primary data file, the other one is transaction log file. And but in this project, we don't want to use the local database. We want you to use our database in here, in a local in a server. So I stop my project, and I should have a database here, but I am going to remove it. So the project, because we use code first, it will automatically generate a new database. So I'm going to show you. The first thing is you go back to the web config and you do comment out the first line in the connection string and uncomment the second line. And in the connection string, you make sure your server is localhost if you don't have the instance name. So yeah, you may have to remove the part here and make sure just localhost, not slash /SQL 2014. And our database name is exercise DB, and we use Windows authentication, which is trusted connection, and which means is whoever run this program. So we run it again. At the meantime, I want to give you a briefing on this Solution Explorer. In the Explorer, you have your solution, and then under solution, you have projects. And in the project exercise, you should have the folder called models, controllers, and views. So models is like a table, or you said is a class in a project. So we should have the project, open it again, and you go register and register like G at George 2, G at G dot T. It should take some time to create the database. Okay, we log in, and then we have a log off button here. We open database exercise DB and tables. And the first one is for the migration. And we don't use migration right now. And the tables start from ASP.NET, which is the identity user framework. It creates these tables to keep the users. For example, ASP.NET users. And that's the user we just create. And we have exam, but right now we don't have any exam. Okay, nothing. Now we can create a new exam. So we have the exams ID and name and description and show up from the script. So I'm gonna stop here. Start the debug. Now let's take a look at the exam model. I put the exam model here under the app, but you don't have to put it inside the folder app. So we define a class and map to the table, and we have the primary key, we have name, and we want to show the display name is exam name. And description, we have a foreign key to application user. You can always click on any keyword and press F12, and now you can go to the one you are referring to. And here is the application user inherit from the identity user. So you may confuse about that, but you know that there's the foreign key from application user is connecting to our user account. And once we have a model, we can have a controller. In the controller, it will control the actions in our controller. For example, we have the list of exams, and we also have the details, or you can create a new exam, and you can post back to our server and create a new exams. And once we return, we return a view back to our browser. For example, we have index for our exams. Here's the HTML file. Here is called CS HTML. It's for ASP.NET. Now we go back to our models. So I'm going to show you how to create a new model. So we want our model called, for example, question. And in the question, we have question ID, exam ID, which came from here, and question tags, hints, answer, score, and we right click and copy the question, and we go back here and we right click here and we add new items, and you can choose the code class and change the name to question.cs. So you have a new class called question. In the new class question, we should have these columns. In C# we use // to comment out. So the first one is question ID, right? So we go back to the exams, so we copy and paste some of them. We paste here. So we set question ID, and we have question test, and we paste question test here. Probably you give like 1,000 or 2,000, and we set is question. And you may give a hint. $500, and we may decide some answer, define some answer, like answer score. So we may just time, put it int score. And we want the table name to be just question. And you saw that something wrong with here because we didn't divide these two. And looks good. So we have exam, and we go back here. We say exam, and you may go back here because one exam may have a lot of questions. And don't forget to register your DB set. Questions. Okay. So we have a question here. And now we can go run it. So you will fail here because the database is different right now because we have the new class called question. So it will show you something like the model backing the application DB context have been changed, and your database was since your database was created, so you have to do the migration. So usually if you know what happened, you normally can do the migration. But here we don't cover migration, so we may just simply delete the whole database because we are in a development environment. So we delete it and we run it again. Now the same thing, we go to register. George, you see. Okay, we have new database called exercise DB again. We open the table. No. Okay, so we have question. We already have exam. We have questions. We expand the columns and keys. So we do a foreign key to the exam. So I want you to stop the debugging, and you go to the controllers and right click controllers and add controller, and you are going to choose MVC controller with views using entity framework. You click add. In the drop-down list of model class, you scroll all the way down to question exercise models. You choose that, and obviously this application DB context, and we don't use a sing, and we generate views, blah 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 blah. So it looks good. Now we click add. And now you create a new controller called question controller. If you show you a list of questions, and you also create some views here. Create, delete, detail, edit, index. So you run the project again. And in your URL, you can type like questions. So this URL will hit the controller here. Index and go view, and the view is indexed here. You can create new, but as you know, you have to have the exam ID. So you have to change something on your controller. For example, like when you do create, and you say DB questions, add question. And I will show you the right answer in another project in the GitHub. But right now you try to figure out how to add a new question under exam. The other way to do that, you can use a stop procedure. I make some examples here, and I create a table called person. So I'm calling some stop procedure. For example, like get table people F12. Which is we call repository in here. So we just do db execute USB get people. So I also create some script here. Here. And you can find it under the project here. And you copy it. And you go to the exercise. You run it. So we will have some new start procedure created. For example, get people, get person, get two person, something like that. So we are going to run this start procedure from our UI. And you can go playground. You click first one. Create new. Click create. So we go back to the playground and we click start procedure. So you saw that we can pull out the data from the database. So take a look all the start procedure and the code in our C# project and try to do one thing. Add a question, new question with the exam ID. That's it.